So, David, what trends are you noticing developing in Britain's mobile connectivity landscape?
Network densification is the key trend for us for two reasons: to boost capacity for 4G and to shore up the deployment of high-frequency spectrum for 5G. Massive MIMO antenna usage is also growing, but this is very much the last roll of the dice for macro base stations before densification is inescapable. Densification brings a wealth of exciting technologies like small cells and Cloud RAN solutions, but a crucial piece of the jigsaw is still missing, and that's dark fiber. It's essential to deliver two things: the very high bandwidth required for densification and the clear pipes needed for Cloud RAN. It's also crucial to tear down the questionable link between line speed and circuit rental cost from BT. This is crucial for the mobile operators to escape the nonsensical and superfluous cost burden they'd be left with.
Tell us a little about the network deployment economics involved for mobile network operators. Are margins sufficiently high to allow the necessary levels of investment?
We don't believe the mobile industry can afford to implement densification based on BT's EAD prices, even with recent price reductions. These price levels will strangle plans to make full use of 4G potential and distort 5G network topology at birth. We recognize this and have a plan to slash the total cost of owning the fibre networks required for densification in our city centres. It's called Mobile-Centric Fibre.
So, what is the role of Openreach in supporting the MNOs on 5G rollout?
Well, no doubt Openreach will provide the fibre EE needs to build extra 4G capacity and get moving on 5G. But defeating Ofcom's dark fibre obligation will, in the long run, prove to have been an error of judgment. Openreach have now virtually eliminated themselves from any competition to supply the massive quantities of dark fibre needed for densification. What's more, it's never a good idea to threaten a rival's continued existence. We're sure BT will continue to supply and manage EAD-type connections for existing macro tower sites, and even ride the next wave of capacity upgrades to 10 gig circuits, but the independent MNOs will look elsewhere for the dark fibre they need. They have no choice.
In that case, what is the potential role for the Alt.Nets?
Mobile-centric dark fibre is a massive opportunity for the Alt.Nets, but our demand analysis shows their existing fibre assets are not in the streets where densification is needed first. Eventually, they will build out to reach the required locations, and they'll be well placed to benefit from later waves of densification. Our mobile-centric fibre blueprint clearly shows how they can rapidly add new capacity and coverage with sewer assets. Miles of very high strand count fibre can be put in quickly and with low disruption to our busy streets. We expect the sheer scale of this opportunity to drive aggressive and creative pricing approaches. Breaking away from pricing relative to BT EAD products is long overdue. We'd like to see Alt.Nets take on the more imaginative pricing approaches from countries where there are vibrant dark fibre markets already, like the US, Asia, and even the Nordics.
And what predictions do you have for the market in the next 18 months?
We believe the mobile operators will team up with selected Alt.Nets to build massive city centre dark fibre capacity, and this will release the brakes for mobile network densification. Our mobile-centric fibre design shows we can beat the target price for a small cell infrastructure of around £1,500 OPEX per annum. This is the price point to spark off a mass rollout of small cells. In this business, scale is our friend. The more operators participate, the more closely packed densification becomes, and the cheaper it gets. We also know economies of scope, like supercharging local full fibre networks, will improve investment returns even further. And in combination with access to BT's ducts and poles, will more than halve the cost of passing each home for full fibre.
And finally, what new technologies are you particularly interested in at the moment, and how will they help to transform Britain's connectivity landscape?
We have no doubt access to BT's ducts and poles will transform the speed and cost of building UK alternative fibre networks, whether mobile, full fibre or both. It's too early to say if the service will be a pipe dream or a nightmare. It's hardly new technology, but it is indispensable. Sharon White, Ofcom's chief, said recently BT's network was a Victorian-era copper network. We're solidly behind Ofcom's initiative to improve access to BT's ducts and poles so other communication providers can lay their own fibre. It's not hard to imagine demand for a bunch of civil engineering innovations on the double to deal with blockages, congestion and general decay. That's just about guaranteed.
Thank you very much.